Annapolis Committee of the Whole meeting to order for May 5th, 2026. We're starting about 5:05 p.m. And we have all members of council present except for our deputy mayor, Sebastian Robinson, who's on the leave of absence. In terms of additions to the agenda, we do have several camera items. There is one new item in 5, which is sale lease of property, town-owned property. And we also have a 6th item, which is another personnel issue. And are there any other changes to the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. I'd just like to read you a little bit, an excerpt from the Annapolis Spectator of Thursday, April 4th, 1957. This extract courtesy of Annapolis Heritage Society. Numerous complaints have been received regarding the so-called Sea Breeze Hotel property, Lower St. George Street, present Sinclair Inn. It was stated that the property constituted a fire menace and was being used for immoral purposes. In this connection, the town clerk was instructed to write the owner requesting that the rear entrance be properly secured. So that's your little newspaper. We have no disclosure of conflict of interest issues. And if we look at Committee of the Whole minutes of April 1st, 2026, are there any errors or omissions?
If I may.
That is irregular.
The minutes from the last meeting. I felt that the paraphrasing of my speech wasn't quite correct, and I'd like to permission to send Kim a sentence or two by email to correct the record.
It's pretty irregular. If there was a change, it needed to be submitted before the meeting. We have to issue a record. It doesn't preclude you from sending in a note to our note taker. That would be right. So, any errors or omissions by those present on council? So the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. We're going to, so I'd like to welcome the people who are here. We understand we have a presentation on the extension of the pump house by friends of the Annapolis Pool Society. So welcome.
Okay. Martin, CPO, important guy at the pool. So the certified pool operator is the person who manages maintaining the chemicals, the pool, status of everything that has to do with the functions of the pool. Myself, Leslie, my title is president, but I also carry jugs of bleach, scrub the pool, order canteen items, the list goes on.
And it's Leslie Hodder?
Hodder, yeah.
Yes, with Martin Henri Villeneuve. Yes, thank you.
My accent is as Martin and I work closely to try to make the pool as efficient as possible and as accessible as possible. And as we've been following our story, we've been, over the last 6 years, been highly successful in the accessibility piece. The efficiency piece, when it comes to cost, right? We're a nonprofit, so we have to raise all the funds to make the pool as accessible as possible and also function as many days as possible during the season. Part of that is chemical. It just takes up a lot of space. And so because we don't have a lot of space, we have to order on a regular basis, which means as we all know, the cost of shipping is going up because of the cost of fuel. And we just had our pre-season shipment and we ordered a double order. And we're gonna stash the chemical in nooks and crannies, wherever we take it home if I have to. Because there just simply isn't any room to store that much chemical. But the perspective of the cost of that was incredible, that we had 84 units of bleach plus the regular shipment, so bags of other things that come along with balancing chemicals. And it was just over $500 for one shipment. Last year, we had 42 cases and other stuff that goes along with it, and it was almost $500. So you can see, we got double the product from exactly the same amount that we paid last year. So that'll cut costs. So this extension on the pump house was the solution that we came up with. And everyone should have gotten the diagram that the contractor, drew. And essentially, it's a 20+ foot long extension that directly comes off of the existing building that's about 8 feet deep. And how many skids do you think that would be?
About the size, the thing is that the way we are receiving chlorine now or bleach. We cannot stack them more than 5 high, so it's kind of the limitation, so it's will be spread a little more. But that will help also for the flow of the things, because as you can imagine, there's always a security concern about that, because it's bleach and usually not the bleach that we have at home at higher degree, so and they can interact with other chemical that we have in town, even if we try to separate as much as we can, you know. The thing is that all those things are so as they can be interact with water, because they go into the water, so we don't want to put them outside as much as we can, except for the chlorine. So that space would contain probably like something like probably more than the half of what we need. And it's always depending. Last year we had a big year because it was super sunny. It's a lot of the time. If we get, more cloudy season, it won't be as bad. But because the main, in the pool like ours, there's 2 main factors for chlorine consumption, and we speak chlorine because that's the main thing that we are using. For example, 10 crate of 6 bottles of chlorine, we are using 150-pound bag of the other stuff that compensate that. So the 50-pound bag is kind of not issue. You could pile them like that high, and that's it. But the chlorine is the issue. That's the big volume that we are using. But to give you an idea, there's 2 factors in a pool like ours. The later load, sorry. The thing is that is usually about most of the same. If the weather is not as nice, there's less people, but we don't get, I would say, much people that go there to just, they are, it's not a problem with the later load, it's the sun, and the sun is the big thing. So if like last year, we got very sunny, by the morning we could use in a sunny day, warm sunny day, I would say probably between 7 and 8 gallons of chlorine per day. The thing is that it's not people that getting there and it's just out
The
by the sun.
evaporation of it, and then also too, like 3 years ago, it was the opposite of last summer. It was so wet that it was just rain. It was the rainiest summer. And so that dilutes the pool, so we have to drain the water, so then we have to add more chemical, and you get the picture that it's a constant consumption process. And so this natural extension that visibly probably most people wouldn't even, because it's only 8 feet deep, they wouldn't even, it's gonna be exactly the same exterior as existing building. It would just be a tunnel for storage that is so needed and would save us thousands of dollars every summer in shipping costs. And it's also more accessible, so for the staff and volunteers who have to lug all of this stuff into whatever vessel we're storing it into. I was fortunate enough to get 6 AWAC students to help me last week. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today, because it was so much, 84 cases of bleach. So the extension actually will be almost to the sidewalk, and then we're just put pavers, so that the electronic pallet jack for the delivery guy, you can just roll it right in, and they'll be, the only lugging will be Martin lugging the 1 or 2 bottles into the big bag when it's needed. So far more efficient, far in regards to physical labor and the cost. But it's just a natural progression of the pool. We're being used more and more. And so the bather load, as he mentioned, but also the elements that we're dealing with because we're an outdoor pool, so.
That's great.
Questions?
Council received the presentation.
Just
Yeah.
to give you an idea, the delivery that we got last week was 5,700 pounds. So that gives you an idea when you logging that in and out, that,
That's a good workout.
yeah.
So did any members of council have questions? Who would like to start? Go ahead, Councillor Myers.
Just out of interest, are you able to store anything over winter there, or do you have to like put it all in for the
No.
summer too? Like,
We could store it over the winter if we had space.
so
So,
you could, this would help you to store.
and we can also project too, so if we know that the cost of a certain product is gonna go up, we can buy in more.
Stockpile.
And then, yeah, and it doesn't, like, it does, at least doesn't freeze.
Right.
You know, so, and as we mentioned, well, you and I mentioned to each other, that, everything basically, as long as it's airtight, right? As long as it's the water, the rain and the wind doesn't get to it, it's good. So that's why this extension, it's, the majority of the cost is the foundation that's gonna be sitting on. And then the rest of it is just a shell, right? Just think of a storage unit, that's what it is, and it'll have a light in it.
So is there
Very
a
simple.
camera also for security? Cause that's, this stuff is worth a lot of money.
Yeah, right, so we actually installed, with the oversight of town and police and, other council persons that, we installed a great security system. So we have multiple cameras with all visible angles of the pool, especially noting what happened at the Lawrencetown pool, but we have foresight. Unfortunately, we are more visible than their pool, but anyhow, we get off tangent, but yes, there is there's something there already to mitigate that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Other members of council?
Nothing.
I have one question.
Okay.
And it's always, my question's just about the money. So is this being built into the budget for the pool?
Right, so we typically earmark somewhere between 20 and 30,000 for expected or unexpected capital projects. And so we got to go back and it's 21,000. So of course, we would like to write a grant to pay for portions of it so that we don't have to eat into the funds that we've already raised. But we do have that already in the budget, so we can execute it if we had a contractor. The idea is that we're gonna try to do it before the season started. We're always optimistic, but that obviously is way too optimistic. So now we're looking to the fall, which is great, so we can actually map out supplies and things like that too, which the contractor's already done, so it's just if we can get it for even less cost. So.
Okay, so I think council has all the information it needs, not an issue. We won't be dealing with this right away. We have some operating budget items. So you're free to stay or to leave as you wish. All right.
Okay. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for coming to explain and answer questions. Thank you. Okay, now on to public input. Is there public input this evening? All right, now we have our Director of Finance with us to review the budget.
Okay, on the screen, can you all see it or do you need to?
No, I can't, but I bring it up on my screen.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, can everyone else see it? Yeah, okay. So anyway, this is Q4, this is how we ended the year. I should note that there's one revenue item that's not booked yet because I don't have it and it's the Valley Waste surplus, which should be around $4,500. That's their unaudited amount, so I haven't booked that yet. But the taxes, we'll just start at the very first, the taxes, there's a slight change here because the HSD offset came in lower than budget. The grants in lieu were pretty much flat, services provided to other government, that's below, and that's because of the Triton checks. They really never got off the ground this year. The license and permit fees, that's because building fees were falling behind what was budgeted. Fines are what they are, we budgeted 35, came in at 64. Rentals pretty much flat, return on investments, we thought we'd get 25, we got 20. Penalties and interest on taxes, it is what it is, almost 20,000. We budgeted 12. I'm missing my two screens with the experience, so got the paper. And then concessions and franchises, no surprise, that's a D-transfer, came in about 41,000 over. And also, we also received, just over 30,000 in our Hurricane Dorian relief, so.
From how many years ago?
Can't even remember.
I think 8,
Yeah, that sounds right.
yeah. So, you never know what I'm gonna be doing in the run of a day. See you there. Then conditional transfers. So we budgeted 233 and we've got 191. The equalization grant was lower this year than, it's normalized, they were bumping it up for a time, but it's no longer bumped up. Yeah. The recreation pretty much flat, 65.3 versus 66. Marketing pretty much flat, and that was our revenue. So the long and short of it is D-transfer was over budget. Triton, so criminal record checks were below budget, and then we received the Hurricane Dorian. Any questions there? This isn't gonna change much. This is all unaudited, of course. We're not audited till later this month, but
And there was additional money from NSPI grant in there?
that's for this
For
current year.
this current year,
Yeah.
not that.
No, this is March 31st,
Right.
2026.
Correct.
So then we move over to the expenses, general government, legislative, which is council, pretty much flat, 184.9 versus 184.6. General admin came in at 243.3 versus 256.8. Some of that was salary. Salary was a bit below, and if salary is below, pensions below, and the remittances are. The reason it was a bit below is because one of our employees is had to take some time off to be back in Ontario, so. And they didn't have vacation time, so anyway, that's what that was. The taxation, 21.4 versus 52.8. We had repairs to the town hall in the budget that never really happened. We're hoping to get the brick repointing the tower done this year. The other general administrative, 30.9 versus 38. That is IT services, so they flattened and they came in well below budget. First year that we were with LCDC, they were a little bit higher, but now they've normalized. Any questions on the general government section? So then we move to the protective services. So the police protections, 5095 versus 572.6. That is, the majority of that is the Triton. It was well below budget, but salaries were a little bit below budget as well. And as you know, Brandon left, one of our constables left halfway through the year, so. Law enforcement was pretty much flat. And law enforcement is like the phone expense, the radio expense, answering service. Then the fire protection, pardon me, that came in a little bit above budget, about $5,000, and that was because our insurance went up for the fire department. Emergency measures was flat, trees and animals a little bit below budget, but we have a tree grant that straddles more than 1 year. So some of those costs are just lagging behind, that's all that is. So all in all, 747.2 versus 813.8, so we're below budget in that category. Then we move to public works, transportation. And we've got under common services, 167.4 versus 194.4. And a lot of that is salary, so we had a long-term employee that we expected to retire, and there is a parting portion of that wage that was budgeted that never happened. Also, whoops, let's get down where I'm supposed to be. Public workshop repairs that had been budgeted never happened either, so. Those are the two driving forces for that. Then the road transportation, 162.3 versus 158.7. The, sorry, I'm just. Yeah, so we were over in, the snow, and you'll recall that, or the salt, you passed a motion, to increase the budget up to 50,000, it came in at 43.3. The budget was 25, so that's what that was. And the garbage collection pretty much flat, 83, 82. Recreation, a little bit below 87 versus 92, and that's because, one of the grants that, Noah had applied for didn't come through. And then the marketing is pretty much flat, 56 versus 61. Cultural services flat, 27, 5, 26, 9. Economic development, that was pretty much flat, 129.5 versus 137.1. The small thing there is, the wharf costs were slightly below. Fiscal services, that's our debt service. And transfer to own reserve, 374 versus 375. We did transfer this 374.4. That was our amount that we transferred from the operating budget into the capital budget. And then the $1,000 is a, reserve for uncollected taxes that were mandated to budget, but we never had any costs in that regard. And unconditional transfer, which is planning and outside planning, 290 versus 288 is pretty much flat. So all in all, our year-to-date total on this is 39, but you can add another 5,000 or 4,500 to it, for the, Valleyway surplus. I'm not expecting any other changes, so basically you'll have a $45,000 surplus, and that has to be moved into the operating reserve. So that's how you ended the year. There's no surprises there from the last time we reported, other than the Hurricane Dorian money. Are there any questions on the operating, how you ended the year? No, okay. So then I'll move over to the Q4 capital budget. And can you all see that? So this is our general capital and our water capital. And so anything that shows 04, that starts with an 04, that's general capital, and an 03 is water capital. So this really didn't change much from the last time you saw it. The playground, we budgeted 59, it came in at 52. The broadband project budgeted 20, came in at 18. The heat pump upstairs, 85, came in at 77. The sewer camera 15 came in at 14.8. The baffle 35 came in at 33.3. The spare sewer pump budgeted at 9 came in at just over 8. The heat pump at Public Works, 12 versus 11. The shoreline restoration FRIP, that's 41.9, 41.9. The computerized crosswalks came in slightly over. 21.9 is what we budgeted, but they came in at 26.5. But the playground, the top line and this line, the grant was the same grant, so we shorted out on the playground and we overaged on the crosswalks, but overall it's a wash.
Good.
Then for those on the audit committee, when we met last month, Andy, our auditing manager, he did say, you know, you budgeted 1.158 for the shoreline restoration, we only came in at 70.5. Well, that's because it straddles more than 1 year. So that was the total budget, but that's all that we spent this year. We'll spend a lot more next year. The same thing with the Chapel Street force main extension. We budgeted 357, and at March 31st, we were only at 181.5. That project is still in play, as you know, as well now. And then for the capital water, we budgeted 12 for capital water meters, and we spent just over 8. So a huge variance, if you look at 1.75 versus not even $500,000, but that the huge variances are those two projects, and really it's the shoreline. So that's where you ended the year for that, and you've got lots of money in the capital to do the rest of your projects, so
And the money doesn't disappear.
the money's in there and it's earning interest.
Nice interest bill.
Yeah, any questions on that? So now we'll go to the income state March, so. Yeah, this is gonna be hard to see, that's why I printed it. But you do have it in your package. I think I can make it big right here.
Close the home tools.
Yes, that's true too, there we go. So this has changed slightly from the one in your package, because the one in your package I did last week. And we received another invoice, the Utility and Review Board invoice, and that's not what it's called anymore, but the regulatory board. That invoice hadn't been booked, but it is now. So that's the only thing that I think that's gonna change in the water utility. So if you look at the revenues, our residential was almost bang on 167.8 versus 168. Our metered commercial, slightly over, we budgeted 105, it came in at 109. Fire protection, that's what we give every year. Sprinkler service, that's flat, 16 versus 16. Interest on sales account, 16 versus 14, we know that the interest rate dropped. Non-operating revenue, we budgeted 15, that came in at 5. Throughout the year, the wheeling rate happened, so the new subdivision is now under the county, so we get to bill $1,000 to the county for that. And then non-operating other miscellaneous 160, and interest income from the bank, we budgeted 8, came in at just under 4. So 395 versus 395, to me, that's pretty much flat. So we brought in what we thought we'd bring in. So then expenses, our share of, or our water that we purchased from the county came in higher. We budgeted 110, it came in at almost 116. You can look through and see some of the differences throughout there. There's some that are a little bit big, some are a little bit small, like the pumping expense, 2,500 versus 414. Pumping expense is a little bit down. The meter replacement, we did have to buy a few meters. But some of the costs, like the water treatment plant building repairs, 650, we spent 1453. I think that was for a new log. And so water lines, testing, they're pretty much flat. Again, the salary expense is a little bit low, and again, that is part and parcel of the retirement allowance. Then I go to the next page. And the general office expense and the general equipment and general shop, they're a little bit, you see some variance there, but overall, they're about even, so there's really no variances there, it's just the way they were coded. Admin salaries is down slightly, and again, that's because 35% of admin salaries are attributed to the water utility, and again, we had an employee that had to leave for a short time, go back to Ontario. And then we have the general office expense and other expense building, again, those two, you add them together and they're about flush as well. And then one big thing I did notice, our depreciation, so we budgeted 64, came in at 57.6, and that's because some of our, I said I was gonna try to remember the name of them, the things, the water mains under the ground, they have been depreciated up to 50 years, so that fell off, and that's not gonna be depreciated anymore because it's fully depreciated, so that brings our depreciation down to 57 on an annual basis. So we thought we'd end the year with negative 64, almost 65, and we've ended the year with a negative 40. So we knew we were gonna be in the red, which is why we done the water rate study, so that's where we end the year with the water utility. I don't expect that to change. So.
Any questions for Melanie? Are the water saddles all done now? No,
no.
there's some more, how many?
Quite a few.
Quite a few left.
We kind of stopped the project though.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the soil, where we were expecting, the soil has changed, so I think we have, longer period of time.
okay. No other questions then? Well, thank you, Director of Finance.
You're welcome.
That's all good news,
Yeah, it's all good news.
better than where we thought we.
No surprises. You know, better,
Except
yeah,
for
better
positive.
than where we thought, and you will recall that you had budgeted, I think 100 and some to move over to, whoops. You had budgeted, okay, you budgeted 117,514 to move over from your operating budget, or to bring in from your operating reserve, you didn't have to bring anything in. So that was good.
So our
thank-
reserves are in good
it's
shape.
squeeze in here. Jeez.
Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
Director of Finance. All right. Okay. So we'll say goodnight to you and all.
No, she's got.
I'm still here for a few more.
Oh, yes, you do. That's right. I'm sorry, the tax reduction stuff, of course you're here. So we'll start with item 4, which is non-for-profit property tax reduction at tab 6. Okay. And we have,
That's all.
The draft motion.
yeah, we have the draft motion here.
And that is our.
We'll start with you again. Save for you.
All right, bear with me. So I move to recommend to council, or sorry, I move to recommend that council approve the tax rebate reduction for the following non-for-profit properties for the 2026 year. Roll number 004799993 in the amount of $2,311.50. Roll numbers 0235556 in the amount of $4,188. Roll number 000922428 in the amount of $768. Roll number 0204546 in the amount of $208.50. Roll number 020459494 in the amount of $2,932.50. Roll number 0361197 in the amount of $1,339.50. And last but not least, roll number 101320.
Excuse me, the roll number?
1033, thank you. 204 in the amount of $1,452.
So moved by Councillor Satkowski,
Yes. I will second that.
seconded by Councillor Myers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. And next we have item 5, request for decision, town-owned tax reductions, town-owned properties.
I move to recommend to council to write off roll number 000922398 and roll number 04997409 interim taxes in the amount of $878.24 and $3,956.01 respectively for the town of Annapolis Royal for the town-owned properties.
Councillor McDonald seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Next, we have seasonal tax reductions.
Councillor McDonald recommends to council to approve the provincially mandated seasonal business reduction for 2026 for the following properties. Roll number 140842, an amount of $591 and
Something.
$691.
No, it should be 69 cents.
Okay, $591.61. And roll number
I
454,
think you said 69 cents.
61, I said.
Yes,
Yeah, but 69, it's 69.
Oh, 69, okay. So in the amount of $591.69 and roll number 4542975, an amount of $5,656.10.
And Councillor Sakowski seconds that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. And finally, we have the request for decision, repeal and replace nonprofit organization property tax reduction bylaw 205.
Okay, Counselor Sikowski recommends that council, the first reading of the nonprofit organization property tax reduction bylaw number 205 dated June 2026. And that council sets the date for the second reading on June 17th, 2026 at 6 p.m.
Counselor Myers seconds that.
So two parts of that motion. Together. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you. And I think that's it for the breakfast party. So thank you, Director of Finance Melanie Robinson. I should exit stage left. Okay, thank you. And now we have the extension of the pump house and Friends of Annapolis Pool Society.
Councillor Myers would like to recommend council to approve the design of the extension to the pump house, providing the requirements of the land use bylaw are met and necessary permits are obtained.
Councillor McDonald seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. And now we have capital projects of the Valley Waste budget.
Councillor McDonald recommends to council to approve the temporary borrowing resolution TBR for Valley Waste with the town of Annapolis Royal share for the 2026-2027 capital budget at 0.84% in the amount of $20,098.
Counselor Sikowski seconds that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. And next we have the Community Climate Adaptation Fund.
Okay, Counselor Sikowski recommends to council to proceed with the grant application for a small scale community title pilot project.
Councillor Myers seconds that.
And just to highlight what this is about, it's the cattle pilot project with Bill Crossman in the lead. And it's an application from Dalhousie to Dalhousie University. And the amount of the application is $30,000 payable by the university to itself, the Ocean Frontier Institute. So it's kind of complicated, but it means if it's successful, it's not coming from the public purse, our public purse, I should say. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Next, the idea committee.
Nope.
Is it the strategic?
Strat plan review.
Oh, sorry. Yes, back to my agenda here. Got ahead of myself, thank you. Okay, so, yes, you received a copy of strategic plan, and it's that time of year to do a review. So I guess the question is,
The projection of, how you'd like to proceed.
Yeah.
With the updates.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a good time for us to get together and it seems like an appropriate time for us to perhaps discuss the communication strategy at the same time.
Yeah, it's certainly in there.
Yeah.
Looks like we need to update some of our
Absolutely.
our
Lots of
our
things have
goals,
changed
our
in a year.
dates.
Yeah, lots of things have changed, priorities, all of that. So, any dates in mind or some direction to staff or?
Do we want to wait for Sybil to be back?
Oh, yes, I think so. Yeah, we wouldn't want to exclude any member of council. And
So-
she's on a 6-week leave of absence and she's in week 2
She's out until the end of June.
till the end of June. Yeah. So if we could pick a date. And doesn't mean that we can't review in the meantime and get ready for that meeting, you know.
Yeah.
Would be good to,
So we would be meeting in July.
yes,
Just
just
to
to
know.
know year.
Yeah, just to note that I will be out of the province from July 20th till July 27th.
So early July is what we should aim for. We have Canada Day, of course, first, but. So, yeah, it'd be good to choose a date now for sure. And we can do some prep work, like asking
Yeah.
people for input before, so we can have kind of an agenda. Yeah. So, early July, what would be good?
Make most days work the week of the 6th.
We've got
So that's would be.
PHAC committee
How-
for
how-
environment.
Do you have anything that night on the Monday night after PDAC?
No, I mean, just to note that we would have 3 meetings in
Right.
then there,
Right.
but no, 3?
Yeah.
Because we would have P-HAC, then if we were meeting on the strat plan after P-HAC, and then committee of the whole would be the next day.
Oh, then I thought you meant 3 in a row that on
No,
Monday night, and I was
no.
like, oh, am I missing one?
2 and then a third one.
It just, like, if you would rather just get it done in one
Yeah.
day sort of thing, rather than coming back on a Wednesday or the Thursday. What do you guys think?
What time does PHAC finish on? Ish, okay.
At the latest,
At the
we're
latest,
usually
5
done by
o'clock,
4:30, but
So we could take a break and maybe start at 6.
I would go straight through, I wouldn't break and leave and come back.
I'm good with that.
So July the 6th.
Yeah.
And what time do you want to do that?
5
o'clock.
p.m.
5 o'clock? Okay, strat planning. Okay.
How long do we want to set for that? An hour, 2 hours?
Yeah, no more than 2, I think, especially on strat planning, if you do some prep ahead of time,
Yeah.
to be able to clear.
Should be able to do it in an hour, hour and a half, probably tops.
Well, so let's say 5 to 7.
Just to
we
be
finish.
fair, yeah.
And then we can, okay, as we get closer to.
Yeah.
Figure, okay. Well, that's great. So that's set. Okay, so July 6th, and in the meantime, I'll send out an email and I'll make a few suggestions, like, anything we know now. I know there were things that came up here, and I'll make a list of those, the things that we said, oh, we'll leave it till strategic planning.
There's some easy dates that can be, changed.
And-
Yeah.
Just to refresh my memory, are these strat plan meetings open to the public or are they a working? I'm looking at you, Sandy. I can't remember how we did this.
Last time we did, working group.
Okay.
And then we also had public input.
Yeah, right,
So
public
that's-
consultation, yeah.
So I
That's
don't
what I
know
was-
if you wanna, your next engagement session
So yeah,
That's
have it
on the
before we
agenda.
have, yeah.
as well to,
Yeah.
so I don't know if that.
It would make,
you wanna be.
to me, it would make more sense to have it before than to have it after
Yeah.
our session.
So that would be my suggestion then.
So the June, would be the June one or be July one?
The June council session
No.
engagement,
Engagements.
yeah, the council,
Don't have a date yet.
yeah,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, so that's what I'm
Date,
saying,
yeah.
suggesting that we, when we get to that item on the agenda,
Okay,
it
when
would
we
be
get to
to
that, we'll coordinate.
Yeah,
Okay.
do
okay,
something.
that works
Yeah.
for me.
And that brings us to the idea committee, and we do have a draft motion.
Who was that? Yes.
Councillor Myers moves to recommend to council to support the change to the idea format into 2 separate committees. Joint Annapolis County Accessibility Advisory Committee and the Annapolis County Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee. Also to recommend to council to approve the terms of reference TOR for the joint Annapolis County Accessibility Advisory Committee and the Annapolis County Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee as presented.
Councillor McDonald seconds.
Okay, so basically, we're left with 2 committees instead of 1. But not all councils have to send a representative the way they worded the new one. So, seems to be a solve. So, if all in favor of the motion?
Okay. I was gonna ask a question.
Sorry.
But it's been voted, so it's been
Well,
passed
no.
already.
Go ahead, let's hear the question.
The question I had was actually about the member representation, because when I was reading through that, it seemed a little confusing to me that either we had a counselor on one or both with an alternate on one or both, or we could appoint a citizen on one or both that then would report back to council on one or both. But not that we couldn't have any representation on one or both. That's how I read it.
Correct,
So
the-
either
the
one of
committees-
us or a citizen member has to represent Annapolis Royal. Is that,
No,
no? Okay.
so there's 6 community members on each committee.
Mhm.
And 4 up to 4 counselors. So we can have an elected official, because they changed it from 1 to each, because we had voiced our concerns at the last meeting that we're small, we only have
Mhm.
5 counselors, the meetings are during the day, so it's hard to get someone there all the time. So they changed it to that we have the ability to appoint one representative or alternate. We can appoint somebody to one committee and someone to the other committee, and if you go, you go, if you can't go, then you, like, there's, like, it's not mandated that we have to have a representative there.
So how would, if we don't have a representative there, how would we submit or influence anything that we needed to for our community on those committees?
Through your staff.
So the staff will still be there?
Oh, yeah.
Just sounds enthusiastic.
And it was the town that said, with 2 committees, it's more of a burden than we can shoulder. Sending now, covering 2 committees, 1 was enough, but 2. So this was very much a compromise.
Sure. Thank you for picking that up.
So it would be interesting, though, to know if you want to appoint someone to these committees.
They're all daytime meetings, right?
So currently, we have, our next meeting is Thursday. To go over these new terms with the.
I could probably make it to most of them, but maybe not all of them.
And we rotate, so
Yeah.
1 month they meet in Annapolis County, 1 month they meet in Middleton.
And their quarterly meetings as well.
Well, that is what we're changing.
Yeah.
Quarterly.
Yeah. I
And
think,
there's also virtual, like,
Yeah.
because Lawrencetown, the members from Lawrencetown.
Yeah.
Melissa is the only staff person, so she can't attend
Yeah.
in person, so we always.
yeah, I would definitely put my name forward if nobody else wants to do it. I just with the caveat that I would probably be able to make it to most, but not assuredly not be able to make it to every, like 100% of them.
Yeah.
Great. So Kim, do you have a recorded vote for that one? Just check.
We haven't voted yet. Okay, did we vote?
Yeah.
Oh, we did vote?
Yeah, they
Oh, I
voted
didn't-
before,
sorry.
that's my question.
Yeah, normally, but anyway, okay, all right.
So the motions both passed.
Yes. Yes.
So then if Councilor McDonald would like to sit on, we should recommend motion to appoint to the 2 committees.
I was up next, but I don't think I can recommend myself.
So Councillor Sakowski moves to recommend that Councillor McDonald be the town representative for 1 or both.
The Annapolis County Accessibility Advisory Committee and the Annapolis County Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee.
Yes. And I will, Councillor Myers will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you. And thank you for volunteering. All right, so the agenda is,
No,
No, we're not.
not there.
That's a long one today.
Pieces of paper, yes, I'm shopping to eat pieces of paper. All right, next we have the request for decision for provincial volunteer of the year, and this is a tough one. It's a very tough one.
There you go.
Oh,
Thank you.
You got 2.
Take one back.
Lynn does not get to vote twice.
So in your agenda package, we, staff have put together a list to nominate for the provincial volunteer awards. We are doing this by ballot because we, staff would like to talk to the person to make sure they accept it before we announce who we are, nominating. Many great, volunteers in the town, and, I think you have 5 people that could definitely support and make Annapolis proud.
Can we do?
Question. Councilor McDonald with a question. Because we don't know if the person will or will not accept, do you want us to do a ranked ballot, like choose 1 and 2? So that if our first choice doesn't accept, then you would have a backup choice without having to come back to us.
Perfect.
1, 2.
Just 1, 2, 3, like I don't know whatever the number needs to be, but
Yeah.
just so that you don't
3
have
is
to,
probably better.
yeah, just so that you don't have to come back to us again and say, oh, that person said
Because the
no.
deadline's the end of May.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so ranked.
Right.
It's a great time for my laptop to conk out. Thank you.
All right.
One more question. So do we actually make the recommended motion in this meeting or no? We do that at another time?
Yeah,
So that
I'll
we're not
have it.
saying their name out and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have that on the council agenda.
Thank you. I just wanted to be sure that we weren't saying anybody's name right now.
Okay, so the next item is unfinished business. We need the next council engagement session date.
And this is where if you would like to have it prior to the strategic plan meeting, and you could have the topic being the strat plan for your next engagement session.
And we're talking about doing it in June when the deputy mayor is back?
Well, she's gone for the whole month of June.
The whole month of June, okay. But because that,
But that's just
That's
public,
just the- that's
so
just the
she's
other
not,
part,
yeah. I don't think, you know, I'm sure she would like to be there, but
Yeah.
not necessary, right?
what about June 22nd?
Last year though, didn't we have sort of our strat plan that was kind of completed and then we presented it to for input as like sort of a,
Yeah, there's two ways you can do it. It's really up to council. It's like a budget, right? Same thing. You can do before, you can do after. There's pros and cons to both.
Cause
I'm
they'd be,
okay with
they'd be
before or
commenting
after.
on the existing one.
Cause we still have, yeah, so we have the one, the current one.
But if you do it before, it's good to let people know what's likely to change. So you kind of also have to do a forecast at the same time of what's coming down the pipe. Otherwise you end up discussing things that we may have no control over, like fire, police, regional measures, like there's an entire list. Our universe has changed again.
The one concern I would have, I mean, I totally understand what you're saying, quite agree with it, to be honest, but the one concern I would have is that if we wait until after our July meeting, we are off for the month of August, which would mean that we would not be updating the strat plan until at least September.
Unless we did it in August, early August, but
I
anyway,
think attendance in early August would be a,
but I'm good on
challenge.
whichever way you wanna do it. You
Yeah.
just
I think with
do,
holidays, it's gonna get
Yeah.
a little more complicated after June, if we can, June or after July.
yeah.
so you have June 22nd is one suggestion. Does that? Would that?
It's the less optimal way to order to do it in, but at least I think we'd get more people participating.
This is true.
Okay, so can we set the 22nd?
Yeah, if that works.
Same time and channel as we usually do, 4:30 to.
Yep. Works.
To when we finish,
Today this week.
Monday,
Monday.
June
Monday.
22nd.
So 4
2 hours or what?
We went 2 hours last time.
One and a half, I think we had last time.
So, yeah, we went longer than usual last time, so.
Yeah, if it goes longer, that's okay. We'll
Yeah.
set it at an hour and a half, but if it goes
Yeah.
longer, that's okay.
and that's, we're starting at 4:15.
4:30.
4:30?
And we can certainly make it interesting by planning, the different pieces
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
ahead of
I
time.
was gonna try to get Brian to come too, Brian Ord, to talk about.
Great idea.
Yeah, so I'll see if I can, hopefully I can get him,
Yeah,
that would be great.
that's right. We can think about peripheral things that we want going on at the same
Yeah.
time or information there. So it gives us some time to plan it, make it interesting.
yeah. Yeah, like I said, my only concern was I could imagine us approving our strat plan in like October. The
No.
2026
No,
update would be a little
Too much
bad.
has changed.
Forgot it by then.
Exactly.
Too
Isn't
much
that
has
when we
changed.
approved it last year?
Well, that's my point. Like
Wasn't it
we worked through a long period of time before we approved it, so it'd be nicer to get it done earlier.
All right, and that brings us to communications plans. So we need to set up a group to look at that. So task teams are useful for those things. So you need to think about who you'd like to see on it and You can invite people to show interest on it, so it's kind of wide open. We set up a task team, we can just put it in there.
Councillor McDonald with an observation, it'd be nice if we were going to create a task team to invite community members who have some area of that being their area of expertise or knowledge base, as opposed to just kind of coming in flat with no experience in that area, can be a little harder. But that doesn't guarantee anybody with experience would want to do it. But just that might be a notion that there are some people in the community who do have very solid communication, PR, marketing backgrounds that would be very beneficial to consult.
Well, we can certainly put it out there and make it an invitation. So what would you like to do? We'll need terms of reference.
Yeah.
The staff need to know they're gonna get something at the end of it.
And it has to align with our policy.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
the plan and the policy, you kind of have to look at them both together.
Right, because the policy may have to change to suit the plan, yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
yes, because
And-
we could change.
Yeah. We can
Right.
certainly
Yeah.
change the policy, yeah. So yeah, that's important, whatever we do can't go against something else, it has to all fit.
So, Councillor Myers, there, I do have a, accessibility support worker who has extensive experience, with IT and accessibility, who would be willing to support our communication plan and, like even our website, give some advice on certain things about our website.
Now, we do have money in the budget for website improvements, right?
Hadn't the
Yeah, and it flows.
RFP already gone out?
Yeah.
So there is that
We get over 60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, crazy.
from different countries too, so,
So it's gonna take us a while to go through those.
Yeah.
but that doesn't preclude, membership. Okay, so it sounds like a task team,
Yeah.
some invitation that we can all agree on. We put it out there and
So how many people do you want on your task team? How many council members, how many citizens? Are you gonna you'll do the terms of reference together once you have your task team acquired? We'll put it out in the town crier newsletter for people to sign up. Or are you going to invite people?
I mean, I know that we're calling this sort of a task team, but I think that it's likely something that we will all want to be involved with. Like, I don't really see.
And that can be, it's
Yeah.
however, because it's not that there's so many of us.
Yeah.
And also, just so that anything that comes from the task team is still just a recommendation, they're not making any
Yeah.
decisions, so. But it would still come to us for discussion.
Yeah, but a task team doesn't have staff attending. That's the
Right.
difference, right? So
Yeah.
there's nobody coming to take minutes. You guys
No.
are on your own.
Yeah.
If, maybe, I don't know if this makes sense, but to Heather's point, if more, or Councillor Satkowski's point, sorry, if more, councillors wish to participate, can we leave that open? The number of councillors part open and set just the number of citizens that we would want to participate or hope to
Absolutely.
participate?
Absolutely.
Because then that way we don't have to pick. And if you can come, or if you can come, or if I can come, or you can come, then we can come.
Yeah.
And then we're not ruling anybody in or out.
And I'm sure Sybil, when she returns.
Exactly, she might wanna come too, and so that just doesn't preclude anybody, but if we set a number of I don't wanna say residents, because it could be ratepayers, anybody. But if we set a number of citizen members, then that would be an easier way to get the number.
Anyway, that we can do.
Yeah. So I don't know, I would say like, I don't know, 3, 5, 100. I don't know. I really don't know what the optimum number is.
Well-
Yeah, so when they're too big, it's hard to get decisions and stuff.
If it was 5 and there's 5 of us, then it would be at least we wouldn't overwhelm them, they wouldn't overwhelm us. That's just math in my head, but that doesn't mean I think that's the best way to go.
I was gonna suggest 3, but. And then if we get more, then we get more.
3 to 5?
Well, the important thing will be to get something out to see who's interested.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can just put out an expression of interest for who's interested
Okay.
and see who responds initially before we said anything, because that'll be one of the terms of reference.
Certainly.
But then if we put it out there and there's 15 people, then how are you gonna decide after you get
Yeah,
these 15 people?
15 people.
The same way you do now if you've got committee, right? If you had,
We look at their profile.
yeah,
But that's all time,
Yeah.
right? So if you, right from the start, say you're going to accept 5 people, 10 people put their names in. Then you get all the applications that come and if you get,
Yeah, I mean, that brings me back to the 5 and 5 seems like a balanced
it
thing
just,
to
it
me.
just
but-
seems too many. to
Does
me.
that seem
10,
10 to
oh,
you?
yeah, yeah. I've never seen a group of 10 produce too much.
Oh, I've project managed way bigger teams than that.
Anyway, it's whatever you wish to do.
and I need a deadline. Like I need a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Mhm.
I still suggest 3 and
And it could be 3 members of council, it doesn't have to be the same 3.
Mhm.
You could do it that
Make
way.
sure 3 of us show up at whatever.
Yeah, that's
Times
actually a good
we-
point, because
yeah,
then
I
we
think
won't be
there could
forcing the
be-
meeting to meet our schedules.
Right.
The meeting will be based on the schedule of the citizen representatives and whichever 3 counselors
3
can
councilors
attend.
can make it,
Yeah.
yeah. Sounds like a flexible plan.
All right, and we just need a deadline then for expressions of interest. And you can pick that one, Sandy.
is end of May. 2.
When will it be out?
So that's the problem, like how to get it out. So if we put it out through MailChimp, that would be our only way to get it out there. Facebook website.
And like you said, you know somebody, you probably know
Yeah.
people, I know people, so we could probably,
Yeah.
cobble together
Fill
enough
that
people knowing.
And send their resumes in,
Yeah.
their,
And I just had
Bios.
one thought about the 3 and 3. Do we want it actually to be 4 citizens and 3 council? Because then if there's a vote, you'll always have a tiebreaker.
you shouldn't be voting because you're just recommending to council.
Yeah, but the group has to decide what they're doing. So if you have 3 and 3, you might get an even split all the time. That's all. I do math in my head.
I think with it being a task team, it's
Not to worry about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because hopefully it'll just be the people who are interested.
Mhm.
And I'm not aware of too many people who've expressed interest so far. Lots of people with opinions,
Majority
but very little interest.
for recommendations, we just say majority rules for the recommendation.
And if there's an issue, the
Yeah.
task team can change its terms of reference.
Sure.
So it sounds like we have some consensus around that, and we'll aim to get it out and with response by the end of May. Okay, all right, well, thank you for that, that's good.
Does it have to be residents of the town, taxpayers?
None of our committees do.
Okay.
Okay, now, there was a lot going on with correspondence, as you can see. So, just to go through the list, Friends of Annapolis Rural Library 2025 report.
I-
Letter.
Just like to
Yes,
know,
yeah.
I love that they do this report. I would wish that all committees and organizations of the town would look at this and go, oh, that's clear, simple, easy, and submit that kind of thing every year.
Well, AVRSP do that for transit and
Mhm,
delegates,
yeah,
so that's certainly something we can,
encourage others.
Yes, absolutely. And the legislative amendments continue unabated. Unabated. So we have tab 17, tab 18. Exactly, more of the
Mhm.
same. Lovely thank you letter at tab 19 for Noah Scanlon's services. That was lovely to receive.
Mhm.
And a letter to ministers, again, fire services modernization. So there are very few areas in the municipal environment that are not being impacted right now.
Yeah.
And it's everything everybody can do to keep up. And I can't even begin to start on what happened last week with the NSFM board meeting and then the 2 days. But Valley Rep Christina Sappington and I will sit down and we'll attempt to summarize everything that happened. It was a lot. Anyway,
It seems like almost every act is being modernized.
Well, there was one word that I can't stand anymore is modernize.
Exactly. That's my
Everything's
point.
being modernized.
That's why I put it
Was
in
that-
air quotes. 'Cause I think
Yes.
it's just not
That's
necessary.
not exactly what's
Yeah.
happening.
Exactly.
Download.
Downloading.
And yes,
Everything
if you
downloaded.
substituted the word downloading,
Yes.
it would be more accurate.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I believe we've completed the agenda. I think I'm safe in saying that. And I'll entertain a motion to go into camera.
Councilor McDonald will move that